from Nicole there as the surf really damaged that pier. And unfortunately, yet again, we are looking at damage to that same pier. Poor pier can't seem to take a break as a number of systems, including Tropical Storm and Hurricane Nicole, affected the area last year there too. But looking out towards the southeast, yeah, we're going to be looking at a big-time impactful system. It's not tropical, but it's going to have a lot of tropical impacts. And we have wind advisories basically surrounding the coast of Florida, but also in towards the interior, northern Florida, southern Georgia, and up the east coast here, out towards the Outer Banks, where we do actually have high wind warnings as well out towards the Outer Banks. Now, overnight, there is a severe weather threat here. You need to make sure you have a way to get warnings overnight, because these could be some really intense thunderstorms that move through. They will be spinning. They will have a tornado potential as well. So just keep that in mind. Here we go into the early morning hours. 4 o'clock, we're looking at the potential of some really nasty thunderstorms moving across the state. And as we wake up on your Sunday morning, we will continue to see chances for severe storms across Florida. By the noon hour into the afternoon, things will begin to clear on out, although we'll get a much cooler, drier northwest wind here across the state, and we will see those temperatures start to drop on out. There's that severe weather risk for Sunday. Again, it's going to be mostly Sunday morning here for Florida. And overnight, there's also a flooding threat. So if you don't have to travel, probably best not to, because there's a level 2 flooding threat out there, and we could be looking at some impassable roadways. A lot of rain is going to fall out towards northern Florida in particular. Overnight lows keep it pretty mild to the south, but that cooler air is moving on in. Tallahassee, a high of only 64 degrees for your Sunday. And then looking forward, look at Tampa, a high of only 60 degrees on Tuesday. Miami, a high of only 70 degrees there by Tuesday. And Orlando, you're not going to make 60 degrees, it looks like, by Tuesday, although we will see those temperatures rebound quite quickly. Now we follow the system further up the East Coast. Here's that severe weather risk for your Sunday. Includes Savannah up through Charleston, the Myrtle Beach area, Wilmington, and out towards the Outer Banks of North Carolina. There is a tornado threat as well, so we do expect more of these spinning storms along with that level 2 flooding threat. So we're going to keep those hazards right through the Sunday time frame, but move them up in towards the Carolinas. You can see how much rain is going to be falling through Sunday morning. That heaviest rain lifts north. Yeah, that real heavy rain, that flooding threat, those very strong winds, of course, and the potential for severe weather. And cooler air back towards the northwest. We do stay mild overnight, but temperatures will come crashing down. Columbia, South Carolina, a high of 46 by Tuesday. Wilmington, your highs will be in the 40s by Tuesday and Wednesday. Back off towards the west here, well, we're looking at things beginning to clear on out. We'll see clear skies by your Sunday afternoon, and a couple of cold fronts pushing on through. Gives us that cold air coming in from the west, with temperatures only getting up into the 40s and 50s across many of these areas. Memphis highs in the 40s for your Monday and Tuesday. Now that active weather will continue up the eastern seaboard. We're going to take a look at that forecast going up towards places like Carmel, Indiana. Well, we're looking pretty nice here. Hopefully the weather doesn't spoil it too much.
Hopefully not too much, but there is a lot of heavy rain headed through into the northeast and the mid-Atlantic, parts of the upper Midwest, like here in Indiana. Kind of missing out on that, but giving us a bird's eye view of, according to the USA Today, the #1 ranked German Christmas market in the country. And you can see how many people are out and about, all kind of bundled up into their cold weather clothes because this cold front is moving through. But other than that, we have pretty quiet weather for Indiana. However, rain across a lot of the mid-Atlantic coast into the northeast Sunday and Monday, and very windy into Monday too. And we're also going to be dealing with some of that mountain snow that Dave was alluding to. Overall, this is just a very strong storm, and one that you definitely need to pay attention to the forecast for to make sure you can make adequate changes to your plans if necessary. Wind alerts here continue up and down the eastern seaboard through Monday, and these gold colors here across Maine and down even into Long Island. That's where wind gusts could be upwards of 50 to 60 miles an hour. They'll probably be 30 to 40 in some of those other locations, but this will primarily be into Monday as we see this low come up the coast, brings those gusty winds with it, especially through Monday morning for our I-95 cities, Philadelphia and New York. Could be a pretty messy commute and a very breezy day, with those gusty winds moving up the coast into places like Bangor, Maine, into Monday and Tuesday. We also have some coastal flooding alerts from the wind and the water getting pushed onshore, so that could lead to some inundation of vulnerable coastlines across this region as well. And then we have that heavy rain and flooding threat. And right now it's a level 2 for Sunday from Harrisonburg and Roanoke over through the coast all the way up into New York City and even out into western Connecticut. Notice not a huge flooding threat back into Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky because that rain will be moving through overnight. Still could be waking up to some heavy rain, though, from Cleveland and Columbus through Charleston, West Virginia. But the main event from this low out across the mid-Atlantic comes into the evening and overnight. Very heavy torrential rain moving up the coast, which means we could have several hours of 1 to 2 inch rain accumulation timeframes, leading to up to 4 inches of rain. Even as we get into Monday morning, this low will still be hanging around Dover and Philadelphia dealing with the rain. And then the cold air swings in back behind and we get some widespread snow. Some of this lake enhanced, some of this is system snow as well. But into Tuesday morning, we could see some of that snow push as far east as Harrisonburg. So some big totals here coming into the snow and the rain potential, but here especially across Appalachia where winter alerts are, up to 6 inches of snow is possible, 3 to 5 inches of rain possible towards the coast. You see the snow icon coming in there for Pittsburgh. For Harrisonburg, Virginia, we're going to kind of be on the edge here for where the rain and the snow is, but much cooler into early next week. Flooding threat for Sunday and Monday here across the Northeast, where Sunday itself should be a pretty nice day overall. Rain building in late in the day with that torrential downpours coming in through the overnight and starting out Monday morning region-wide. A nasty commute for us, so if you have the option to work from home or just wait a little while to go outside, that's probably a good option to exercise. Through Monday afternoon and evening, though, a lot of this rain will start to clear out, and we are left with maybe 3 to 5 inches of rain in spots here. And some of that snow will start to come in across the Great Lakes into Tuesday. Really high rain totals in some of these areas, leading to flooding. It's a little deserted out here on Saturday in Hollywood Beach. Lots of these stores and boardwalk looking area. Not a soul. That's because it's rainy and windy with this developing low pressure system. And not a whole lot of that forecast is going to change, at least through the mid-morning hours on Sunday for Florida. We've already picked up anywhere from 1 to 2.5 inches of rain, and there may even be some spots that have seen more than this since Friday. Melbourne coming in at one of the top reports with about 2 1/3 inches of rain, but even Sarasota at 1 1/4. We really need the rain here across parts of southwest Florida where we have continuing drought. We will definitely get that with this low pressure system, but we're also getting those other impacts, gusty winds, coastal flooding, flash flooding, and the severe weather threat as well. So multifaceted threats coming in with this system, first coming into Florida, and then this is going to ride its way up the East Coast through Sunday and Monday, tapping into that Atlantic moisture, helping to bring in very heavy rain rates for a lot of these spots too. Flood alerts are now issued for parts of North Carolina all the way up the I-95 corridor into the Northeast, into the mountains of New England as well. And this is for Sunday and Monday for rain totals that could be 3 to 5 inches. We've already seen a lot of rain in Florida. That will continue overnight with that heavy rain moving into Georgia and the Carolinas through midday. Through the evening, though, this is when a lot of this heavy rain starts to materialize across the mid-Atlantic. And some of this may be a little bit earlier on than what models are showing, just depending on where those heavy rain bands are, because we're pulling in a lot of that Atlantic moisture, and it's going to be just a steady tap of rain right around the center of this low. By early Monday morning, Richmond, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, as well as western areas of PA and New York will also be dealing with this heavy rain. This low is a quick mover, though, so by the time we get to around 7 or 8 on Monday morning, we are still dealing with a lot of this really heavy rain, so it could be a bit of a messy commute from New York up into Connecticut, up the I-87 corridor, and for pretty much everybody in New England. There will also be some wraparound rain on the backside of this low into Washington, D.C. that will be a little bit lighter. Through Monday afternoon, though, most of this rain moves into New England and then into Canada, and then we're done with the rain aspect, but attention does turn to some wraparound snow that will be possible into parts of Appalachia particularly, and that comes with that big cool down in air masses. Before that, though, we have the rain. You can see Savannah, Charleston, Wellington in that red area, though, that's around 5 inches. The range there for a lot of spots, 2 to 4 or 3 to 5 inches. Much of the state of North Carolina, 2 to 3 inches as well, and even up through Washington, D.C., 2 to 3 inches of rain. Moving into the Northeast, it's a lot of the same where you see the yellow, that's around 2 to 3 inches of rain. Pockets of orange and red, a little bit more than that. So anywhere here across the Northeast also looking to be into that 2 to 3 inch range for rain. And this is just going to be a very impactful system from the rain aspect and for the other coastal effects as well. Cooler behind this system as well. You can see that in Charleston, South Carolina. 60s and rainy during the worst of this weather Sunday, then down into the 40s with a lot of sunshine. That's 40s for a high temperature by Tuesday. Some pretty different effects here, Dave, coming with this system. It's a very powerful one here through the eastern U.S.
Yeah, we'll be watching for that East Coast storm to climb its way up into those areas of New England eventually. Kind of team up with this other system kind of coming in from the Great Lakes, and all of it together could give us some snow. It's been hard to come by as of late here. Some of the images coming out of Windham, Minnesota. This is a spot that did see snow, but it really didn't amount to a heck of a lot. This was basically all we got from this latest system, and the big winner was 3.4 inches out towards Silver Bay. That's it. St. Cloud, a little bit of a bigger city there, 1.3 inches, not particularly significant. Look at the snowpack across the country right now. You basically have to go to North Dakota or central parts of the state of Minnesota or across some of the higher mountains to find any kind of snowpack here at the moment. But like I said, things will be changing. We'll be watching that area of low pressure kind of phasing in with that area to the east, but colder air will begin to wrap around, and you will start to see those temperatures drop on out. So places like Traverse City, a warm day with highs in the mid-40s, but by Monday we'll be looking at chances for snow increasing as we start to see the lake effect machines start to percolate a little bit as well. Now the waters in the Great Lakes are still warm, and we'll see that colder air start to overrun it as that cold front moves on through, and some of the models showing some heavier snow, particularly out towards Indiana, maybe through the Ohio Valley. So a little bit of snow for the rest of the weekend up towards Bismarck, or not Bismarck, Fargo area, through maybe the UP of Michigan. But then we start to see that lake effect machine start to increase. And that should give us a little bit more snow up towards the UP of Michigan and areas into the Lake Michigan itself, downwind of there. Now, wind chills getting pretty cold at times, nothing intensely cold, but we will see temperatures feeling like the single digits. Now, we want to learn more about what causes lake effect snow. Here's Mark.
We commonly see lake effect snow across the Great Lakes region during the fall and winter months. For this to develop, we need lakes to be mostly unfrozen. This ensures a large difference in temperatures between the relatively warm lake water and the colder air rushing over top.
When we have cold air move over the Great Lakes, it helps to evaporate some of that warm, moist air, which is a good contributing factor to seeing lake effect snow develop.
The bigger the lake, the more time the air spends over the water and is able to pick up sufficient moisture. That moisture then causes clouds to form, and heavy narrow bands of snow target isolated locations downwind of the lake. Locations that are likely to see the greatest impacts from lake effect snow will be placed under a winter storm warning or lake effect snow warning for whiteout conditions in near impossible travel.
Lake effect snow bands are prone to causing snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. That's something that we commonly see. And in situations of the most extreme lake effect snow bands, we can see even higher snowfall rates, maybe 3 inches an hour or 4 inches per hour.
Due to the difference in temperatures between the air and the lake, instability could be relatively large for the colder months. This could lead to thunder snow in the strongest bands. And it's not just throughout the Great Lakes that we see this type of winter event. Other lakes, such as the Finger Lakes and the Great Salt Lake, can have their own bands develop when conditions are right.
What makes the Great Salt Lake unique is that it's not frozen, and so we can have that lake effect snow from periods as early as October all the way through the spring.
For Weather Nation, I'm meteorologist Dave Holder.